Joshua, aka Darth Cripple on Twitter, and today I want to look at the top 10 single game performances by Seahawks. This will be a list that is mired in controversy, I'm sure. I have a bit of a note at the end of the video about this, as there's few players that I left off the list that I felt should be here. When we go through the rankings, I'd like to know your opinions. Did I put people where you thought they should be? Who else did you think should be here? So I'd love to hear your comments once the list is concluded. So let's get started, shall we? Number 10, December 24th, 1983, Dave Craig breaks the Broncos. Seattle opened up a heck of a present on Christmas Eve 1983 as it headed into its first ever playoff game. The pundits actually selected Seattle as Denver seemed too unpredictable. A home field for the Hawks and Kurt Warner's conference-leading performance had the Orange Crush on the ropes before snap one, according to most media. However, most picked Warner as their top guy to bring the victory home. Enter Dave Craig. It was fitting that he led the drive as Denver geared up to kill the run. It was even more fitting when the scoring ice was broken by this pass.
Back to pass goes Craig. Couple of steps back, lost it in the end zone. Touchdown Seahawks, Larson!
Another TD quickly followed, and Dave Craig finished off the performance with this pass to Paul Johns.
Paul Johns on his left, Larson to the right. Craig off a play fake is back and crossed one toward the end zone. Touchdown to Johns! He can put the bags to Miami. The Seahawks are heading to the Southland next week to play the Dolphins. It is all over here.
With a final tally of 12 passes completed on just 13 attempts for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, with no interceptions or fumbles, it's a rare clean performance from Seattle QBs in the playoffs, and earns a well-deserved spot on this list. Number 9, October 19th, 1986, Jacob Green destroys the Giants. This 4-sack performance of Jacob Green pushed Seattle to a 5-2 record in 1986 and finished a 4-game stretch where Seattle recorded 28 sacks in those games. Phil Simms was out of sorts as Seattle brought pressure with just its front four for most of the day. The key to Green's performance here, however, was when the Giants matched Seattle's defensive performance, and that required Seattle to hold a 17-14 lead with just 2 minutes to go. Green would sack Simms on back-to-back plays, forcing a long 4th down from the Seahawks 42. Simms would then notch his 4th interception on the day as Dave Brown would pick off a deep bomb. It's a signature game for Seattle's most successful pass rusher in franchise history. Number 8, November 11th, 2001. Sean Alexander introduces himself to the Raiders. In Seattle's final divisional contest with hateful Oakland, few could foresee the eventual outcome. Still trying to find its identity, and with a defense that surrendered points faster than the Colts' defense with Peyton Manning at quarterback, Seattle found themselves down a touchdown with just 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Seahawks went on a drive that tied the game with a 6-yard run from Alexander, his first score on the day. But on his next opportunity, he would only need one touch to do this.
20 to the 30. Oh, he's going to go. 30 down the left hash mark. 10, 5, touchdown, Seahawks. 88 yards. Holy smoke.
Following that play, he finished his franchise record day with a 10-yard score, bringing his total to 3 in roughly 13 minutes of regulation time. He had 273 total yards on 36 touches and broke an 18-year single-game Seahawks record with 266 rushing yards. That still stands today. Number 7. November 23rd, 2003. Matt Hasselbeck plucks the Baltimore Ravens. In a contest that looked to be two struggling offenses trying to outstruggle each other, Seattle found itself with the distinct possibility of going into halftime tied 3-3. After the matched-over tying kick, however, Matt Hasselbeck took his team into the up-tempo 2-minute offense and led a touchdown-scoring drive capped by a 2-yard snap pass to Daryl Jackson. Seattle led 10-3, but a fumble and a kickoff by the Ravens ensured that Matt got another chance with just 18 seconds left in the half. A second TD to Bobby Ingram had what looked like a tie just minutes earlier, end with a 2-touchdown lead for Seattle. Their luck wouldn't hold, however, as the streaky and leaky defense began to hiccup against backup QB Anthony Wright for the Ravens. Matt and the offense kept the fire going with 2 long TD passes to Corn Robinson and Daryl Jackson, giving him a total of 4 on the day. When he threw his 5th and final touchdown of the game, however, to Bobby Ingram, with just over 14 minutes to go in the 4th, the 17-point deficit seemed untouchable. However, it was not to be, and several ref controversies, including the clock issue, left Seattle with a loss in one of the best road performances ever in Seahawks history. The final stat line of 5 touchdowns, 28 for 43, and 333 yards is lost to time without a notch in the win column. Number 6. October 29th, 1984. Kenny Easley welcomes Dan Fouts back in a Monday Night Massacre as Seattle blanks the San Diego Chargers. Kenny Easley by far outranks most Seahawks even today with his toughness and violence at the safety position. But combine his hard hits with his deep center field skills, and you have a recipe for an elite player. He defined a defense searching for toughness for close to a decade. But in this game, it was his patience and anticipation to wait Fouts out that allowed him to notch 3 interceptions in a ridiculous shutout performance on Monday night. It was also a key game in his eventual Defensive Player of the Year award. January 14, 2006, Daryl Jackson humiliates Washington in the playoffs. Seattle won its first playoff game in 18 seasons on the back of a third-round afterthought by most accounts. The Redskins decided they would stop the run and scheme only to stop the run. copying the Giants from weeks earlier when they forced Seattle into overtime. They refused to change this tactic even when a blow to Sean Alexander's head on a dive play put Maurice Morris into the backfield. Doom and gloom quickly set in as this injury was followed up by Jackson taking a blow to the back after an 18-yard reception. Seattle was down 3-0 late in the second quarter until Darrell Jackson and Matt connected on this play.
First down at the 29-yard line. Play action. And going deep for Jackson. Touchdown.
The final stat line reads 9 catches for 143 yards and a touchdown. But it's more impressive when you realize that Matt Hasselbeck only completed 16 passes for 215 yards. Jackson was a one-man show out there, often humiliating former Seahawks Sean Springs. An 18-year playoff victory drought snapped by an afterthought. September 29, 2002, Sean Alexander makes Sunday Night Seahawks must-see television. Some guys just play well against certain teams. Some guys just play well early in games or late in games. Some guys come back fresh off a bye week. Sean Alexander made Sunday night his home. This performance versus the Vikings set a few records, but an early 2-yard dive over the line for his first touchdown hardly set the stage for what was to come. A 20-yard slash play in which Sean slips a tackle in the backfield and tucks himself behind a nice Hutchinson seal block gives him his second touch. However, after Gary Anderson field goal brought the Vikings to within a touchdown with just over 3 minutes left, Sean Alexander makes this play.
Alexander, the lone setback. Bill for back to pass under a blitz. Here's the screen. Alexander, 20, 25, outside 30, on his team, 35, 40, 50-yard line, to the 40, to the 30, to the 25. He's got room. Looking good for Sean Alexander to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Followed by this one.
Tight ends. Alexander trailing strong. There he is, making 4 touchdowns. Wow.
And then this one.
Hand off to Alexander. Goes 5, end zone, touchdown, Seahawks. That's 5.
Sean Alexander scores 3 touchdowns in less than 2 minutes. In exactly 1 minute and 6 seconds, I believe, of regulation, if I've done the calculations right. His 27 total touches and 231 total yards of offense rank among the best in NFL history, and he did all of this damage in one half. Number 3, January 8th, 2011. Matt Hasselbeck has his last stand at home versus the Saints. Throwing 4 touchdowns in this game is overshadowed by the greatest run in playoff history and a defining moment. What's lost, though, is the significance of the performance. Very few players can say they went out doing something like this. A final game for the franchise history books, and as often does happen with games like these, you never see them coming. Despite throwing an early interception on a poor decision and going down 17-7, Matt Hasselbeck exemplified the fortitude Pete was looking for in his team. Using the aggressive route jumping of Greg Williams' Saints defense, Hasselbeck notched the best playoff game of his career, throwing his best deep ball in 3 seasons.
Matt's got time. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks! Play fake to him. Matt has time. Throws back down. Wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks! John Carlson from 7 yards out. That's his second touchdown of the day. Hasselbeck takes the snap. He's looking left all the way. Now he's going to let it fly. Stokely wide open downfield. He's got it. 10, 5, touchdown, Seahawks! And Matt Anderson takes the snap. Drops back 5. He's going to let it fly downfield. Mike Williams is deep down there. He's got it. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Number 2. November 25th, 1984, Steve Largent becomes a one-man wrecking crew versus the Broncos. In its 11th victory of the year, Seattle had its best aerial attack versus Denver. Without their star runner, the Seahawks were forced to turn to their passing attack for the majority of its plays. Dave Craig unloaded this big pass on the very first play to set the stage.
Charlie on the tight end lines up on the right. The straight drops back to pass. He's going deep up the left side. He's got Turner in front. He makes the grab of the 30. He's on his way. He'll go all the way. Touchdown, Seahawks.
This opened up the underneath for Steve Largent, who would go on to grab 12 passes for 191 yards. His 191-yard single-game record still stands, but most impressive was that 7 of his 12 catches were on third down. His 11th catch was a lead-taking touchdown catch, and the Hawks held on the back of one of the best single-game performances of this Hall of Famer's career. Number 1. January 11th, 2014, Marshawn Lynch crushes the Saints in a playoff sequel. His 28-carry, 140-yard performance with 2 touchdowns didn't just lift a struggling Wilson, who completed 9 passes for just 103 yards. His performance passed Sean Alexander as the best single-game playoff performance by a Seahawks running back, a record he broke on a bounce out left. An old favorite by his predecessor. A game best suited to being number 1 on this list.
There's Lynch. To the outside. Marshawn Lynch. Touchdown.
So there you have it, guys. There's my list of the Seahawks' top 10 single-game performances. Do you agree with my list? Do you think it sucks? Do you think the rankings are wrong? Do you want to move guys around? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear, guys you think I left off this list. There are at least a few I feel like I struggled with a little bit doing this list, and so I may do a sequel just to get some of those names here. I don't know if I have 10 other ones, but I know that this list needs a sequel just in terms of the work I did putting this list together. So I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, what games belong where, what games would you put in here? Do you have some that I should put in here that you really liked that I may not have thought of. So, I will see you next time, and that list will be the top 10 game savers.